Everyone, today we are going to be talking about memory meltdown, unmasking the other race effect. Now, to understand what the other race effect is, we will begin with Henry James, who served 29 years in prison for a crime that he did not commit because of an eyewitness misidentification. He was charged for the aggravated rape of his neighbor, and during the first interview that the Caucasian victim had with police, she told the officers that she didn't know her attacker. The next day, an officer saw Henry, an African-American male, and thought that he resembled the description of the attacker. Henry was arrested after being identified from one photo and was placed in a live lineup with individuals who failed to match the description of the attacker. Henry had multiple alibis that showed that he was not at the scene of the crime when it happened. After many years, the Innocence Project proved his innocence by DNA evidence that excluded Henry as the perpetrator. Now, what is own race bias? It's the phenomenon that we can better recognize faces from our race better than we can of another race. This can have serious implications in real-life situations, such as Henry, an African-American male who was misidentified by a Caucasian female, and this caused him to spend almost 3 decades behind bars. The inspiration paper behind this research study looked at if the repetition of showing faces from other races would help to strengthen memory for other race faces. They found that repetition does not help with the ability to recognize other faces, and that leads us to a large question. Why does repetition not help? Well, our hypothesis to try and answer this question is that repetition does not help because people do not know that they're seeing repeated faces in the first place. So, how many faces did you see? Do you recognize any of these faces? This chart shows how participants had poor memory for all old faces, but they falsely recognized more new South Asian faces than Caucasian faces, even though they were shown the same number of faces for each race, which replicates the own race bias theory that is shown in the literature. As predicted, people thought that they saw more unique South Asian identities than Caucasian, even though they were shown the same amount in each race. This shows how people can imagine new identities and report that they have actually seen more people than they have. We believe that repetition doesn't help to improve memory for own race bias because people can't tell the faces apart to begin with. We can see this clearly in the example of Henry James, who was misidentified by a Caucasian woman and lost so much of his life due to being wrongly imprisoned. 29 years that can never be given back. This case is one in a list of so many more where people are wrongly convicted for a crime that they did not commit based on a misidentification from someone of another race. This is important to recognize and to try and implement data from research, such as what we found in this study, to make sure that situations like this do not happen anymore. Thank you.